Welcome to the Winning Move Podcast. I'm your host, Stratton Brown. I interview successful entrepreneurs from around the world to see what moves they've made in their lives to get successful and, more importantly, stay successful. I'm here to make sure you can create a better life for you and your family. Let's tune in.
What's going on, Grego?
Dude, what's up, man? That was a sick intro, by the way. Like, I feel like
you.
I'm on CNN or some shit.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Dude, it's awesome to be here. I'm a listener of your show, so I think I texted you like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, dude, your podcast is awesome, bro. Like,
Thank you, bro.
Binge listening to this thing in the car in upstate New York, waiting for my buddies to meet me out for dinner.
Well,
That's exactly what I was doing.
You started yours, and then what's it called? Only reason mine turned into a podcast is just because of the meetups all got canceled.
Yeah, COVID.
But then when you told me you brought on Chris Voss, I was like, oh, bro, that's powerful.
Yeah, that was hard to get him, but yeah, it worked out after a year.
Still though, bro, you talked to Chris Voss.
Yeah,
like that's savage.
He's a nice guy, like he's like pretty high profile now with his book and stuff. And like, dude, we shot the shit for a couple minutes after. He's a super cool guy, like awesome dude, really approachable. Doesn't like, doesn't have like that, oh, I'm a, superstar mindset. And that's why he's so successful. So yeah, he was a good interview, man. It's funny, like interviewing someone where you're like, you've read their book like 10 times and you're like, dude, like I've made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars from that book. And like, thank you for like talking to me for 30 minutes. I'll go back in my cave,
Oh, yeah.
It's like sick.
How do you approach, like, so now I have people wanting to come on my podcast.
Yeah.
And if I don't know you, I generally don't want to do it. Or at least want to have a phone conversation with you, because I don't want to just like, okay, yeah, this is the first time I'm meeting you. I know nothing of your background.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like it's super clunky.
Yeah, it does. So I have I'm not like super guarded about it, but like if I don't know the person and it's a cold, like a lot of it is the podcast company will solicit me or my assistant, and then I'll have to like see what's going on. A lot of the times if I don't know them and I've never heard of them and I just like, what is this? Or Anna sends me something and I'm like, what is that? We'll kind of ghost them on purpose to see if they're serious.
Okay.
And then if they follow up with us, I'll look into it, because like I'm like all about not equal opportunity, but like just as like I don't want to just be like, oh, shun. And then if they follow up with us and I like their bio, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then like we'll send them a Calendly link and they book it. So that's kind of how I handle it. If it's someone I loosely know and I know they can provide value and they ask, I just send them the calendar link. I'm like, let's do it, man. Because I've noticed, Stratton, that I went from 1 show a week to 2 shows a week, and you run out of content pretty quick. So I was like, man, I don't want to have it be a content dump, but at the same time, like the more people I can connect with, the more people listeners connect with, ultimately the better. But I've had a few people I've interviewed, and I just didn't think it was really quality, and it just didn't make a lot of sense. It wasn't congruent, and I decided to just scrap it. But that's like happened once or twice out of like hundreds of interviews.
Right, and you're episode 156, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think one came out this morning that I was. I think we're at. I gotta see here. I think we're definitely. Let me see. It's funny. Anna knows what episode, because I just send her the files and then I just literally just hang out and watch it get posted. Pave the Way. All right, so we have 157 episodes. So getting closer to the 200 mark, which is weird because I started it like 2 years ago. Had no idea it would go that long. Be honest with you. No idea. No clue.
So we got that going. What else did I want? You're buying rentals now. And so your episode isn't even released yet from like our Facebook Live, bro. So that hasn't even been released yet because it's so far down the pipeline of like when I just got started.
Smart move, by the way. I did that.
Really?
Dude, I lock content into a vault and then release it months after. Yeah, dude, I do that shit like a maniac now. Or no, I used to do that. Now it's a little more like, because I ran out of all that and I kind of got lazy, didn't record for a while. But dude, that's one of the best podcast moves you can make, is hoarding content and then releasing it over a long period of time.
Yeah, because I have so many episodes, right? And so the new one will get released and then I'll release like an old one from the vault. And I release 2 a week until I am like up to date.
Yeah. Smart.
How many do you release a week?
2.
Two.
I've noticed though, it's funny. I ran out of interviews for I had a little bit of a downturn. It's almost like a wholesaling business. Like the pipeline dries up, you got to go dig up more deals,
Yes,
so
exactly.
I put out a solo episode of me. I talked about wholesaling. I actually recorded the thing on my way back from a closing, and we had like this convoluted wholesale deal. We made like 40 grand on it. It was, can I swear on the show, or is this a cursing show?
Yeah, bro, what? Bro,
it was fucking hardest wholesale deal ever. And it was like, it was like doing a mental Rubik's Cube. And I was like coming back from the closing, and I'm like, you know what? Wholesaling, in my opinion, most of the time is fucking harder than just taking the deal down. And I went through and explained why. And that thing got a shitload of downloads. I had no idea. And then, so I'm going to start, the point of that story is that I'm going to start putting more solo episodes out of just my thoughts on things. Cause I think people really, I guess, resonated with that. I got people hit me up about that episode. I'm like, really? Holy shit. It was just me talking in the car. So I'm going to start putting more solo episodes out and see where that goes.
Well, for me, I feel I just complain or I see someone's shitty mental state, and then I will do a solo content on that. Right, to where like, okay, this is what you're thinking about wrong. Yeah. And I'll go DM on them, and then I will bitch at you for 20 minutes about this is what you should be thinking about, and this is what you should be doing. Yeah. Because, this is all mental. All the shit we do is mental.
It's all mental, for sure. 100%.
And so you got to fix that thing up there first before you decide to, like, I am not where I need to be to make the money I want to be mentally.
Dude,
make the money I want to.
Mindset. Dude,
it's all mindset.
Dude, that is 1,000,000% true, because at the end of the day, like, I remember like when we got started, like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, it's like, we just I didn't know how to make money on my own. I had no fucking idea. And it was all in my head. I didn't know how to solve problems. I didn't know how to I didn't know how to process shit. And I'm still not perfect at it, but I've gotten a lot better. Like, I would get up every day and I would think, keyword there, that I was being productive, but I was really just dicking around and not doing shit. And I was like, oh, why don't I have 15 grand in the bank? It's like, because you're a fucking idiot and your head is up your ass. And then over time, I've just made a lot of mistakes. And now I'm like, I've gotten better at being consistent and having other people do shit, not for me, because that sounds like I'm a dictator, but having that who, not how mentality. I used to be like, oh, I need to be the master of AdWords and the master of, putting podcasts together. And then I'm just like, dude, what the hell are you doing, man? You got to get someone else to do that shit for you. So not because it's a bad thing, but just like, that's not my core competency. Like, my core competency right now is finding deals and negotiating and creating wealth, through some of these properties I'm buying. That's like my strength. It's not, sequencing out, podcasts or fucking replying to emails or, doing a lot of shit that I don't like to do. Cold emailing people, like dispositions, like, that shit's, you can have someone else do that and get the same result without doing much,
Have you, let's talk about your assistant, bro. How much has she changed your life? When I got an assistant and like now my company's grown to where I can actually like think of who, my life has gotten so much easier.
Dude, it's funny. I'll tell you the story on how I ended up doing it. So I've tried to hire people for years and I've just done it the wrong way. Now I'm in a mastermind, actually, total plug here, called Multipliers, which is like a high level. Ryan Dossey's in there. Serious mastermind, big boys in there. And I was in Tulum. Well, before I was in Tulum, I had the coronavirus. So I actually had to isolate in a hotel room for 10 days. So I was like working and shit on the computer, and then I would just read, what the fuck else in January in New York when it's 10 degrees out. So I was reading 80-20 Sales and Marketing, a really good book. And the guy was like, you got to hire a fucking assistant. Like, you got to do it. And he was like speaking to me through text. And I was like, you know what? Let me do that. And I like processed out like every activity that goes down in my real estate business. And I said, what do I need to do that is really critical? And it was like 4 things. It was like negotiating deals, analyzing qualified leads so I know like what I can pay and how I can exit, engineering marketing campaigns, which doesn't take a lot of time, and then really like looking at the numbers and seeing like what the fuck's going on. And then everything else, there was like 15 other things, and it was like, talk to seller, qualify, like all this shit, reply to emails, TC, all this work. And I'm like, I can have an assistant do all this shit, and that's all an activity that I can measure. So I came up with the description.
Measure.
Yeah.
Keyword measure.
Measure. Yeah. And I put it together, put out a job ad, man. And I was in Tulum, and all these guys like have like really big businesses, and they're talking about like leadership and shit. And I'm like, man, like I got to fucking do this shit. So went out there after the mastermind and put out a job ad, and didn't really know what I was doing, but I did a lot better than I used to. And I really vetted the candidates extremely hard, and I made it extremely inconvenient for them to get the job. Not because I'm a douche, but because I wanted to see if they were serious. So what I was doing was like, I was vetting them. I was like, if they weren't to the letter detailed, I was just fucking not even considering it. Because like, I've noticed that I've hired people really, like in the past, I've hired people and I was super loosey-goosey about it, and I would justify for them, and then they would just ultimately suck. So when I did it this time, I really whittled down 100 to 7, and then 7 to 2, and then 2 to 1. And in between, I think 7 to 2, no, from 7 to 3. So this is what I did. From 7 to 3, I spaced out the interviews, and I gave everybody a project to do in between the next interview so I could see how they work. Because I used to they would tell me what I want to hear, and I'd be like, oh, that's awesome. And then like they would do work and they would suck. So then I said, all right, here's a project. I want you to do a third of this project. The other 2 people are going to do the other 2/3, and I want to see how you work. And then that ultimately is how I found my assistant, because I thought she worked the best. And she's definitely the best fit. So that's kind of how I did it, man. And it's been awesome. It's been a game changer for sure.
I don't hire people. I didn't tell you this before. I don't. The last hire that we made was a girl who I had working for me before, and I was like, she'd be a great fit for this. And I know how she works. Yeah. But now it goes through our HR department, and
Dude,
then
that's awesome.
it goes to Glenna if it's for like a sales manager position. Because like I feel like I'm not good at it. My thing is like, just do your fucking job. And they're going to tell me they're going to do their job. I'm like, hell yeah, I do my job. That means you're going to do your job. We're all good. Right. We're ready to go. So I don't even hire people anymore because I know I suck at it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy. And I'm not an expert at it, but this is something that the first time I did it right, it worked out. And also as I was clear about what I wanted, I used to hire people because I needed the help. And now I'm clear on what are the functions, activities, measurements, responsibilities, expectations. And I was too lazy to do the damn work and prepare for it. I think a lot of times
Great point.
I just didn't want to prepare. I was like, I don't want to. Like, I think this is something I've learned. And this is straight like 5 years of doing it the wrong way. I've learned, and a lot of people here probably would agree, it's actually a lot easier to do busy work and to call sellers and to make offers and to, follow up with leads and to drive to a fucking house and to go walk a property with a contractor than it's a lot easier to do that than it is to sit there and think about how you can grow your business. Because that requires more mental strength than like just, oh, let me go to that house and I'm going to pretend that I'm busy. I'm going to go meet with a contractor.
You're everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
Where most of my life now is thinking.
Yeah. Thinking. Thinking. And just thinking like, okay, what is the sequence of events on getting this person onboarded? So like, we're going to optimize for the result. That takes like 30 minutes of real mental work, and it's hard. And there's a lot of resistance that comes with that. And it still happens to me. I'm still like, fuck, I don't want to sit here and strategize how to like, but that's the real work. And I remember I used to hear gurus in the beginning say that, and it didn't resonate with me because I wasn't in a situation where it was relevant, and now it is. So I'm like, oh man, I wish I listened to that guy 5 years ago. I would have probably been doing better now. It's like, what the fuck?
Bro, but think about how much you've grown since then. Yeah. Like that shit.
That's true.
Like I was talking about like how I just paid DM. There's no way if I would have paid DM 2 years ago, that it would have been worthless to me.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have even been there. Even if I had the money and everything else, I mentally would have not been there.
Totally, dude. That's so true. And it's all about the sequence of events when you do the thing that you're trying to do versus doing it right away.
But tell me about multipliers. What is it? Is it from that book? I need to read that book, by the way.
The Mastermind?
Yeah.
So it's funny. Ryan Dossi, actually, I'm buddies with Ryan Dossi. And I remember we went hiking one time and in California when he used to live here. And he was telling me about this mastermind he was in. I was like, oh shit, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. And so it's a group of high level guys. I think there's only 50 people in there. And there's not only just real estate people. There's like people who have like SaaS businesses and money managers. There's a lot of hard money lenders. Yeah. It's ran by this guy named Chris Arnold, great guy. And basically I didn't really purposely opt in to join. And a lot of it is referral, like getting in there is like referral based. So I connected with Chris, and how did that go down? Oh, Chris and I are in the same little like education, like mastermind, like every 30 days we hop on a Zoom call, like 5 of us, and we just kind of shoot the shit. And I connected with Chris, and then I had him on my podcast. And then I think, we swapped podcasts or something. And then I think Ryan and this other guy, Sherrod, great guy, sure, he owns Simply. They referred me in there. So then I connected with Chris, and like, it was like a vetting process. Like, you got to really there's like 2 hours of interviews and shit. Cause they're not in it for the money. They're in there to like really put a crazy group together. So yeah, then I had the opportunity to join. So I joined back in, I think that was October of 2020. Now I was like a little scared because anytime you do something different, not only about the money, but like just the commitment and the people in there, like you don't really know what to expect. It's kind of scary. So I was like, fuck it. If I want to get to the next level, like this is a no freaking brainer. And I joined it, and it's a phenomenal group. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So gotten a lot of value from there, and hopefully I've given a lot of value to the members. And yeah, that was definitely a smart decision, man. Definitely a smart decision for sure.
Did they put you on the hot seat at all for like any like business things? Like what's that like?
Yeah, so like the way it goes down, like there's like pillar experts in that group, and then like every month there's a new topic like that the group goes into. This is like just like on like the format. So like if you're like a pillar expert, like you'll get asked to join the panel for the month, and then like everyone hops on. You kind of go through like your expertise and stuff, and there's Q&A. And then besides that, there's it's kind of like choose your own adventure style mastermind. So like there's like you kind of go there, and then whatever needs you have, like you kind of like they kind of play matchmaker, so you can really like connect with who's the expert. Yeah, so it's actually good because it's not like a traditional mastermind where like you go to a hotel every 3 months and you sit in a hot seat and it's the same shit. And I'm part of those types of masterminds too, but it's very common. This is more of a different mastermind. A lot of it is actually personal development stuff, not just business stuff. So it was really cool to have it be a different type of mastermind versus your regular, just go there and it's 100 people there and everyone's got the same problem, and you're tired of hearing the text message and calling are tough and mail sucks and Google ads are expensive and it's the same shit. You're like, fuck, I could have just listened to that on a podcast,
Exactly.
So it's it's just like, man, like it's just, yeah, you get tired. And there's value there too. I'm not knocking other masterminds at all. I'm just saying, like, when you do something unique, it obviously always stands out. So that's something I really like about that group. And there's high level people in there. Like everyone in there has a real business and they're successful,
But and you're moving out of wholesaling, and I feel like you don't want to turn that into like a big business. That's not what I want to do at all.
No, sir. No way. And yeah, I mean, I use wholesaling as a way to generate money. Like right now at this point, like I'm not extremely involved. I mean, I definitely do still negotiate and I'm part of deals, but wholesaling I look at now is it's a way to keep the revenue rolling. And especially with where the market is at right now, it's so competitive, and the market, like the prices are so high, especially in New York. Like everyone knows that area is on fire because of New York City. Like I can wholesale a house a lot of the time and make the same amount of damn money and not take any risk. And it allows me to just keep the cycle flowing. But I'm closing on half of the stuff now, if not maybe more now, and just keeping it as rentals, doing a rehab. And now I'm like weeks away from closing on my first small commercial asset, which has been a fucking hell of a learning curve, to say the least. As a solo guy, no partners, no fucking syndicate, just a straight hey, I'm taking this thing that, not cash, but I'm like borrowing money, but like not JVing with anyone. It's like me taking a vacant building down by myself. Never done it before. So it's been a lot of fucking learning. Yeah.
The mental gymnastics for that. We were doing, we're doing storage right now, right? And
great niche, by the way.
We had to break down a property in front of the mastermind yesterday. And boy, was I fucking flustered and like didn't know like what to do, right? Because like we're just getting into this, and then like breaking them down and everything else. I haven't felt fear of something like this to where like I don't want to make the wrong decision and buy the wrong asset. I go raise the cash and we put them in a bad spot. And so this is the first time I've ever like overthought about shit, right? Yeah, in a long time of taking on like a new challenge.
Exactly. And it's funny because it's like these are the storage and the mixed use, the thing I have there. It's both real estate investing, but it's a whole nother animal, dude. It's a whole nother animal. What is like with the storage? What is the biggest difference? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Like, what's the biggest thing you've noticed on the commercial side versus just single family home marketing and shit. Like, what is the biggest thing that you've noticed? Because I have some interesting insights on it. I want to hear you go first though, because it's interesting. You and Tim Bratz did a great interview that I listened to last week, and I just it's just the guy's incredible, and you're a great interviewer. So that was a great interview. People should listen to if they haven't heard it already.
2 billion,
dude. He's a savage, dude. Straight savage, yeah.
In a good way. What is it, bro? It's for sure slower. Without a doubt, it's
way slower. Yeah.
I love it. I love how much slower it is. I don't have to call this dude back right away, or else someone comes and snakes it, and they stay for like $500 more, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. Especially in like California and shit, it's like fucking cutthroat billion wholesalers. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I like that it's slower. I like the quality of people that I'm dealing with. I don't really like the quality of people I deal with in wholesale.
Like you mean at like seller?
Like seller quality.
Yes. That is what no one talks about. And that's what
reality. Bro, you're talking to, and everyone's like, we're helping people, blah, blah, blah. We're helping people. Like, I'm on the phone with fucking assholes most of the time. Right? Yeah. And so that's why I was like, I'm over this. Like, it doesn't motivate me. I will, whatever, gave up like half the business. Cool. Whatever. It still makes money. It's still going to bring in deals this month. That'll be plenty for me to go put into other shit, have it plow into other things, and just keep on rolling.
Totally, dude. Totally. That's a great point you made on the seller. Like it, I've noticed this, like recently, a lot of the deals that we're doing on the wholesale side, like when we're going direct to owners on a single family house, dude, it's like we're boxing these sellers, dude, like threatening to sue them, and they're threatening to sue us, and yelling and kicking and screaming. And there's just like, there's so much drama, and the sales cycle is kind of short based on the seller situation.
Short and long.
Like it's like
situation that sucks. It's not predictable.
Yeah, dude. And it's just, a lot of the deals get very dramatic. And I think residential real estate, I still love it. I still like doing deals, but especially to the realtors, man, like we use a lot of realtors to disposition properties, and most of them are great, but some of them are like, you know, they're just pond scum, to be honest. And they're so emotionally involved and dramatic, and they're transaction focused, and it's just not cool to work with. Some of them. But yeah, dude, the slowness of a commercial property is definitely interesting in the beginning.
It
is nicer. Yeah.
Brokers aren't assholes though. Commercial brokers are notoriously assholes.
Well, they are. I this one's direct to the owner, so I'm straight with the owner. This isn't through a broker, so I've never experienced that yet.
Right. Sure. But I have what's it called? I don't think really any real estate agents know about real estate in the most place.
No, they know how to tie their shoes, and that's about it.
Right. At least commercial guys are a little bit different, but with the commercial guys, like they think they know so much.
Yeah. Pounding their chest.
A little bit frustrating.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. How that? Yeah, I could see that, because it's more of a. You have to know a little bit more, but at the same time, it's the same shit. Like once you know what a fucking cap rate is and the NOI, like you can kind of analyze anything. That's the thing I liked about commercial, by the way, because I analyzed probably 30 or 40 deals before I picked up this one property. Okay. And I got really good at like underwriting a deal. And it was so simple. It's like, all right, this is the income. These are the expenses. How do I add value to this thing? Are the rents under? Are the rents top of the market? Are the rents bottom of the market? Can I cut this expense? Like I'll walk you through an example. Like, you know, there's a deal I looked at where I didn't buy it yet, at least it's in the database. But like the rents were like, it was a small apartment building, and the rents were like, the guy was renting these units out for like $900 a month. And I'm like, dude, the market value is like $1,500 a month, like per unit, you know? And then he was paying for all the expenses. This guy was like old, paying for all the expenses. I'm like, dude, you can have the tenant pay for all this shit. You know, you just got to pay for the taxes, the insurance, and like some maintenance and stuff. So,
and this is a triple net.
This is an apartment building, so not a triple net. This is you got to pay for like, you know, the tenants are supposed to pay for their electric and shit. This guy was paying for everything, and I'm like, dude, holy shit. He was trying to sell the property though based on what it could rent for, not what it was renting for, and he wanted way too much. So I've noticed a lot of sellers that they're trying to sell a value add property without adding the value yet. Like it could be worth, you know, $500,000. They're asking $500,000, but based on the cap rate and the NOI, it's really worth like $300,000. Someone's got to buy it, take the risk, add the value, and then it'll be worth $500,000. So it's a the conversation with the seller is more about the numbers. It's not about like, why are you selling? Oh my gosh, like how long's that been going on for? Like there's none of that tomfoolery. It's literally like, tell me about the property. Why are you selling? Like you don't have to go on the therapist chair. And then it's a negotiation. Like it's a negotiation. Right. What price you want? It's, because they're savvier.
Right. They're savvier. They aren't going to go down your fucking sales funnel, bud.
No, they don't give a fuck, dude. They want to know the price, dude. Like this building I got under contract that I'm about to close on, the guy literally has an empty building he wanted to sell. He's 80 years old. Nice guy, Bill. Doubt he's listening to this. Bill, just wait for this to air. Like, wait for me to close before you listen to this. But he was asking a price that was reasonable. It wasn't a grand slam, but it was a reasonable price on a vacant building, an 80-year-old guy. Not desperate, not in a jam. Building wasn't a total disaster. And I'm like, at his asking price, it kind of makes sense. But fuck it. Want to get a better deal. So I offered him way lower than what he was asking for. And he said yes. And I said, okay, let's go ahead and contract and move it forward. But no pain. No, like
no, you don't have to take him down this massive.
No, none of that, dude. It was a straight, like, it was a pleasant conversation, honestly. It was a pleasant conversation. I walked the property, looked around, made sure it wasn't falling over. And yeah, that was it. I mean, a lot of my deals now on the wholesale side, yeah, there's still some pain and stuff like that. But dude, I get deals all the time where like the seller tells me their price and I just make sure that they're not full of shit. And we lock up the deal in 3 or 4 calls, when a lot of the times back in the day, I used to try to get on the phone with them for an hour to understand the deep psychology behind them when they really didn't give a fuck and they just wanted to get the problem solved. Like, you know what I'm saying with that?
Yeah. People have different philosophies on it. For me, I personally just don't care. So I'm not going to do it.
I know what you're saying, dude. I know what you're saying. You're just
like if I connect with you, right, and you have a problem, like, oh yeah, well, I could probably do this, this, and this. Does that help you out at all?
Yeah, it does.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Just like to the point type of sales, like not trying to treat the same person the same, like not trying to do the same thing to every person, I think is where investors get fucked.
Wrong. Yeah, a lot of people go wrong that way.
You know what the biggest thing about sales is, dude, and this is like what isn't talked about enough, but it should be talked about more. Everyone always says ABC, always be closing. I say ABQ, always be qualifying, dude. Like, in order for someone to be a lead in my company, there's 6 check marks. And if they don't check 2 out of 6, I'd be happy to share them on here. Dude, they're not a lead. They're not a fucking lead. Yeah, so the 6 are, and I'll tell you how I came up with the 6 before I spat them off so people aren't like, this guy Greg is full of shit. Basically, I looked at the trailing 20 deals I did last year. Like, I took like closed deals, that's another bull. Oh, I got 7 deals under contract. Cool. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, how many did you close? So trailing 20 closed deals where there's money in the bank, profit. And I said, all right, let me look at all these deals. I looked at all the addresses and I kind of like recall what the fuck was going on. I came up with 6 things. So the property fell into one, if not more, of these categories. Number 1, it was either a vacant house or it was an apartment property and there was like an empty unit or some shit. There was some sort of vacancy going on. Second thing was that there was a real why on the sellers selling. Like, they weren't like, oh, I'll sell if you give me $1 million, or I'll sell if the price is right. Like, they're like, I'm selling because I'm moving, or I'm selling because I inherited this property. I'm selling because I'm in foreclosure. Yeah, there's a real why that like they volunteered to share. Like, it wasn't some bullshit. And then the third thing is there's some sort of timeline. Like, it doesn't have to be I'm selling tomorrow, but hey, I want to sell within now or the next 6 months, and this is why I want to do that. The fourth thing is that their asking price was lower than the Zillow value. And that's like kind of really only applicable in like high-end markets. But I've noticed that if they're asking less than the Zillow value off the bat, there's a pretty good chance they're going to buy that house, mostly, especially with the market today. And then the last two are the condition. So the property is either total shit box, or it could use some updating. It was like an older house and grandma, lived there, whatever. So there's an opportunity to just force appreciation by fixing it. And then the last one, and this is one that this is my ultimate favorite. Hey, I know I can get more if I list it. I don't want to list it because of X, Y, and Z. So they're justifying why they don't want to list it. Because the number one deal killer in my market is I'm listing my property because it's worth a lot of money. And that's fine. We refer those deals to agents and we make money. But if they don't want to list the property for some reason, there's probably a reason. And that's generally an indication of a deal. So I said the 6. If someone doesn't check at least 2 out of those 6 boxes, they are not a fucking lead. They are in the database. They are not tagged as a lead. They're tagged as a contact. And then generally we refer them over to an agent. If they check 2 out of 6 boxes, then they become a lead. And then we handle that lead based on where it's at. And it allows my assistant and myself to not spend all this time with assholes, because I see that's what burns out a lot of people is they spend time with unmotivated sellers and they think the business doesn't work. And then they're frustrated and they quit.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we do the 4 pillars. So price,
love that,
has to be underneath Zillow if it counts as an actual check. If they give us a price, that doesn't count. If it's under Zillow, like hell yeah, like, okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're working with something. The property condition.
With a serious seller, yeah, not an asshole.
If they tell us it's fair, same thing. Because if they tell us it's fair, they know it's shit.
Fair,
right? It's in fair condition. Like, okay, we know it's shit.
Yeah. Besides the fact that the chimney is falling off, yes, fair.
Fair. Their timeline has to be within like 90 days.
Yeah.
And then price, timeline, profit, motivation, a real motivation, like a real why.
A why. There's a why. Yeah.
That's all I use.
That's it.
And then we send it over.
This is similar. I think I got it from Brett Daniels and added like 2 boxes or something, but it's like a derivative of that. It's the same shit, but it allows you to not jerk yourself around with sellers, because that's where I see people get screwed. Is they're like, dude, I got 10 leads today. Well, you really didn't get 10 leads. You probably got 3 leads or 4 leads, and you think you got 10 leads, and you spent all your time with 10 people when you should have eliminated 7, spoke to 3, and solved the problem for maybe 1 or 2. You know?
Exactly.
Always be qualifying, dude.
Always be qualifying. Are you in New York or are you in California?
Right now, I'm in San Diego. It's super shitty weather today. I'm not really happy with the weather out here recently. It's been very rainy and cold. What about you?
I am currently in Fresno.
Is it sunny outside or is it
nice.
raining?
It's nice today.
What's the deal in Fresno? Is it start getting hot this time of year, or is it that like in like July or August?
No, bro. It was 90 last week.
90 degrees?
90. You should see how short my shorts are right now. I'm really into these short shorts now. I'm like hitting the gym, right? So
yeah. You're looking pretty buff, dude.
Trying to get my thighs to like pop out of my shorts.
Yeah. Not thunder thighs as in your fat, but thunder thighs as in like you're muscular. So like good thunder thighs. Now, what's the deal? How far are you from the closest beach? Like, do you go to like Pismo Beach, or where the fuck you got to go?
It'd be Pismo.
So you just straight go like 2 hours west, and you're in the ocean.
Yeah. But I don't even go to the beach. I go to Utah more than I go to the beach.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying if you wanted to go swim somewhere, the closest beach is Pismo Beach.
Or I'd go to a lake. I'd honestly go to a lake.
You go to a lake, yeah. Well, you're not too far from Yosemite, so you're in a pretty good spot up there, right?
Yeah, so you got like Yosemite, you got Shaver, you got Millerton, you got a bunch of like cool little what's it called, reservoirs.
Yeah.
But if I go to Pismo, I'd want to surf.
Yeah, I could see that. Pismo Beach is pretty nice. I've been there. It's pretty cool when you start going up the coast. Now, are you long-term California guy, or what's the deal with California? I got mixed feelings on California, so I don't know.
No, bro, I'm not a fucking long-term California guy. I'm a Utah resident.
I'm a New York resident. I hope Gavin Newsom doesn't hear that. You slick bag dick. I ain't fucking doing it.
I know my girlfriend's listening to this, but she wants to stay here. I don't want to stay here. If I could have a house, like,
yeah.
And so, end of goal, perfect life. I have a house in Malibu, and then I have a really nice like ranch of 100 acres in Utah. Yeah.
What is the tax basis like in Utah compared to California?
A lot cheaper. It's not Texas or anything, but it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, but it's not. You're not paying 13.3% getting fucked.
No, you're not getting molested by the government. No, not at all.
Dude, I'll tell you what, California, I will say it's probably, at least San Diego, in my opinion, is probably the best city in the country. If you like go pound for pound what it has to offer and shit. The thing I've noticed with California is that it's so crowded, and I'm not from here originally. I am not from California. Like, I am a transplant from here. So if I was from San Diego, it would be a total different story. But I feel like I almost live 2 lives, like one here and one on the East Coast. That's my thought process on it. But I think
why is it 2 different lives?
Dude, because like I come here for like, 2 months or a month, and then I do my thing. I work remotely, do a deal or 2 in San Diego a year. And then I go back to New York, and it's like it's almost like I never left, because it's like I'm from there, and I have like when I'm there, I'm so fucking busy. I'm going to some properties and
yeah, I'll give you that.
Like I have 2 lives, dude. And then I'm like, I'll be there, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like I forgot I kind of have a place in California, and then I go. It fucking kind of trips me out, to be honest. It trips me out hard, because like I'm just like it's literally like it's like life A, life B. And then like in between is when I'm on that airplane for 5 hours, and then I land, it's 3 hours ahead, and I'm like jet lagged. And then it's like, what the fuck? It's like kind of like Groundhog's Day every 2 months, dude. It's very, very strange.
I can't, so when I go home to Utah, the biggest thing I run into is that I actually have friends who are like doing it all the time. Yeah. And so like, it's hard to get work done because I am doing shit from when I wake. Now I work every day from like dusk till dawn if I'm not spending time with my family.
Same.
But then when I go to Utah, I compound that with activities with family and friends.
Yeah.
So it's like nonstop. We're going to bed at like midnight every night because we were here, we were there, we had this person's birthday party, we had this cousin, this, that. And so it is nonstop. And I feel like I'm distracted. Yeah. So I like coming back here to like resettle.
You can just focus down. Yeah. That happens a little bit to me in New York too. I was just there for like 2 weeks and like just was like, besides working, like you said, I was just doing shit, like out watching the fucking Jake Paul fight and, staying out late and sleeping in. And, it is weird, and then it's almost like, it's weird. I think if I only went back once a year, some shit, it would be different, but I go back a lot. So it almost feels like I still kind of live there. It's super, it's honestly like, it's trippy. Like, cause I'm, I don't know what my mind is. It's not like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I feel like I literally live in 2 countries almost. Cause it's another thing too. Like culturally, New York is so different than California. Like just the fucking whole, like have you ever been to New York State or like the Northeast?
No, I've never been to New York State. We were just in North Carolina. And I think that's the farthest I've gone.
You've never been to New Jersey or Massachusetts or Connecticut or fucking, you've never been, you got to take a trip up there, by the way. It's awesome. But, it's like another country, dude. You feel like you're in another country because everyone in California like people are super friendly out here. It's like you're 3 or 4 notches back. Like everyone's more relaxed, just more loosey goosey. And you go back to New York and it's just people like just being direct and upfront. And that's all I'm used to. So I come out here and people are like, oh yeah, it's all good, bro. I'm like, really? Is it? I'm like, are you scamming me? Even like sellers, dude. It's so funny when you talk to sellers in New York. They're like, it's just a fucking, like, they're so direct and to the point. And I used to do a lot of deals in Texas, and it was like they were talking like hillbillies in slow motion, and it was like some of them were like legit lay down sellers, and I'm like, I've never even seen this in my life before. It's just like so crazy how big the country is and how different these regions are in the same exact country. Super crazy.
It's completely different. You got that Texas slow southern, then you got the California laid back dude.
Yeah, and then
the East Coast is so fucking direct, like right at you the whole time, aggressive,
abrupt, dude. That's even like I was in Miami last month, and that was kind of like New York, dude. Like I was down there for 4 days. Well, the weather obviously was a lot different, but the people, like there's a lot of transplants down there, so everyone, it's fast paced, aggressive. People are fucking making moves and shit. And it was a lot different than I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot like California, but it was very different, like fast paced, moving and grooving, hustling, bustling. A lot of people, very crowded place, but it was pretty cool. I mean, have you been to Miami? It's a pretty fucking cool city.
I feel like I'd die. I'd probably develop some cocaine problem or something.
Yeah, you got to go. I mean, it depends. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, you can go to other areas where there's less debauchery, but it's really pretty, dude.
I talked to dudes who, like are there. Like I remember when we were like down in Florida, and I was talking to dudes who are our age who are making like at least $500,000 a year and living in Miami.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you staying focused, son? So
right. What do you?
Like, you're 22 years old. You're making $500,000. You're living in the heart of Miami.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
For me, I just coming out of college, I was like, man, I'd be wilding. I would not sleep.
Yeah, no, it's one of those cities, dude. It's fucking crazy. I mean, I didn't party like crazy there, but I did a decent amount of partying, and like, dude, it's like one of those like 24-hour cities. There's like the 24-hour cities in the country. It's like Miami, New York, LA, and then everything else is like San Diego is not a 24-hour city. Tampa Bay is not a 24-hour city. Like those, like Austin, Texas is not a 24-hour city. They're like, that's like a step below these major cities. Would you agree with that?
I haven't traveled the world that much. Vegas is
Vegas is a 24-hour city. I forgot about. I was thinking about. I'm like, I think I'm missing one, but yeah, Vegas for sure. I love Vegas.
Is pretty 24 hours, bro.
Love Vegas.
I'm not that big of a fan of Vegas because I just don't I don't like clubs. Believe it or not.
I hate clubs. I don't go to clubs in Vegas. I fucking hate that. I go to Vegas to do like blackjack, to eat a steak dinner, and to just sit by the fucking pool and just to watch all the debauchery around me. That's
You're
why
45 years old, by the way.
I like that. I don't like going to clubs. Gives me anxiety, dude. I hate that shit. I'd rather just honestly, when I go to Vegas, I show up there on a Friday, and me and Caroline, we go, we get dinner, we fucking watch a show or some shit. Get up the next day. I feel like a fucking grandpa. Yeah, we get up the next day, fucking go rent some shit. You know, we'll go like, you know, we went on a boat last time and rented a boat on some lake in the middle of the desert and fucked around on that thing for a couple hours. And then we got back and fucking just went to dinner and did some. I think we watched another show. It was something. Oh no, I was playing blackjack till like 12:30 at night. I was just sitting there, hosed with like a bunch of White Claws around. This is like during coronavirus, so there's like a plastic all over me, like I'm in some fucking alien zone, and I'm just, you know, drinking some White Claws and, you know, playing some blackjack, and you know, that was fun. And drove back the next day.
Well, you are 65 years old.
In a 25
all your kids out your house. Yep. You're like, nope, me and the wife are going to Vegas.
Yeah.
You're driving an Oldsmobile.
Yep, Oldsmobile, nuts hanging out of my freaking my left side of my pants. Yeah.
that is my man, yeah. Greg.
Dude, that's what I do in Vegas though. I do not go and I hate clubs, bro. I just can't stand them. So yeah, no way. I get anxiety in there. Ugh.
I want to talk to you about your book reviews. I'm
sure
going to start doing them. How do you read so fucking fast? All right, I can't. I do the Audible hack, right? To where I'll listen to it on 2.3 speed, and then I'll read it at the same time.
Yeah,
and that helps me get through it.
Yeah.
Like, do you still not have a TV?
There's one in the bedroom, but it never goes on. And I'm not saying that to like brag and be like, oh, I got no TV. Fuck you. But like, I just don't get a lot of value from watching TV. I get bored if I watch TV, unless it's like the Super Bowl or some shit, which is once a year. So the way I read a lot of books is that I get up in the morning. And like I said, I'm not perfect at all, but I'm generally 90% consistent, 95% consistent. I read for 30 minutes in the morning and I read for 30 minutes at night on the weekdays. And then generally on the weekends, it's the same shit, but I probably read a little bit more. So every day I'm just reading something. And I'm reading a book and I'm getting through it pretty quick. And I'll tell you why. A lot of times I'm reading the same book over and over again because I'm at a different point in my life and I need that same information from a different, vantage point. So that's the first way I do it. I read every day for an hour and I block out 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, sometimes in the middle of the day if I got nothing going on. And then I listen to a lot of audibles, man. I live right by the beach, so I go for walks all the time and listen to that, fucking when I'm, making breakfast or something, I'm listening to something. If I'm in the car, for the most part, I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast. So that's how I do it, man. And then I keep it simple. Like I like if I read a book and I get one nugget from it, that'll be my talking point. Hey, this is the book. Like I could talk about, I could make a 30-minute interview, but people probably wouldn't like that. It's just like, hey, this is the one nugget I got, and this is where I saw the value. And if you think that's something you'd be interested in, you should check the book out. And I've been doing that for almost 3 years straight now. It's crazy. Every fucking Saturday. 3 years straight. 3 years straight. Every Saturday. I never missed a fucking Saturday. Even hungover, freaking in a winter blizzard, stuck in the middle of, Europe. Dude, still did it. Didn't give a shit. I'm like, every fucking Saturday. It takes me 10 minutes a week. I spend more time freaking filling up my water bottles, than doing that shit, So it's been awesome, dude. It's been awesome. Just the consistency of it has been awesome. And I've gotten a lot of like weird opportunities from that shit. Like most of our deals this year are coming from like other investors because from social media. And like, it's the compound effort of the content. It's not like me just making a book review and saying like, hey, let's do a deal together. It's like, they've seen my shit for 3 fucking years and they're like, oh, this guy doesn't mess around. And ultimately that's where a lot of opportunities are coming from.
What's it called? I paid for my followers, right?
Sure.
So I just paid for a bunch of followers.
The one thing I did was kind of a scam. So you definitely did it better than me, but yeah, I fucking gave some guys some money and got fucked. So, I didn't know what was going on.
And I did it, and you were on the course train for a little bit, but I did it 100% just for the swipe up.
Yeah.
On the social media stuff. And like now I post 2 times a day, or my assistant does.
Yeah.
2 times a day on my Instagram.
Yeah.
But just to be able to have a swipe up when I drop a course in Q3 and be able to be like, hey,
that's a smart move.
Hey, go buy this. Hey, go buy this. And it's going to be a good course, right? It's not going to be a shitty course, but that will automatically sell.
Oh,
I can make an Instagram post and I make $1,000. That's powerful.
That is ultra powerful.
And that's easy money.
Yeah. That's like as they say in the real estate world, that's a lay down seller.
Bro, that is a lay down.
That's the lay down of laydowns of laydowns. That's smart. So what is is it 10K? What is the threshold to where you can start swiping people up?
10K.
10K. Okay, so that's not even that bad. That's fine.
No,
I think I'm at like 4,000. I think I paid for a few thousand, and then the people who like did it, like I smelled tomfoolery in the air, and I was like, guys, like I gave you 3 Gs, like give me fucking 1,500 back, and just you can keep the 15, but like it was some scammy shit going on, and they just I don't know.
With my guy. I'll connect with my guy.
Okay.
I'll connect
with my guy. I wasn't a fan of it. I was like, this is fucking weird. Anyway, that's smart, man. That's smart. And the thing I've noticed too with social media, I'm not even an expert at it, but like I get random people I don't know from Adam, couldn't point them out in a crowd, and they listen to my podcast and they DM me on social media and they're like, hey man, just want to let you know, like your podcast is slowly changing my life. And and I'm not saying I got the Joe Rogan experience by any means, but like, even if one person listens to that podcast and they get value, that's all I need, at least from a fulfillment standpoint. Right. Yeah. We could do business together. I got a course and shit. I sell that, whatever. But like, that feels better to me than me going out and making a 50K banger on a wholesale deal and sticking that in the bank and going out to the Ritz-Carlton for the night or something. Like I like doing that too. I'm not saying I don't do that, but that impact. I remember used to hear guys say that, and I was like, that's bullshit.
Right, bro. No, you're such a piece of shit. Impact.
Yeah. No, it's real. It's real. It's definitely real. Yeah, and I realize that like that's more meaningful than the money. And then listen, I'm a capitalist. I love money. It's a great thing. Definitely want more of it. And once you get to the point where you kind of can pay your bills and your business is like doing all right, at least if you can have someone else benefit from your information, it's fucking cool, dude. And just even if it's just a podcast, like it's cool because like maybe that one nugget they got from that podcast was their kind of like entry point into the game, and then that got them to quit their job, and now they're making $200,000 a year and they don't have to report to a boss. And it's like that's super cool if you can help people do that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I've thought about this heavy lately of what do I want my podcast to be, and like how do I want to help people, and that's why I was talking about like I do those rants because like someone needs to hear those rants. I truly believe that. Like someone needs to hear that rant.
Someone needs to hear that. It's like Billy Jean
ass kicked in gear.
Yeah. It's true.
And it'll change their life, right? If you just quit thinking about things this one way and make this minor tweak, your life will be better. You'll be able to spend more time with your kids. You'll 100%. Be able to make more money, right? 100%. And all of that. But yeah, I don't know what I want to do with my podcast, but it is crazy having people message you and be like, oh, bro, I love your podcast. I watch it all the time. I went to a Donovan Ruffins event, and I had several people approach me like, bro, I watch you on Facebook all the time. I was like, oh,
dude, right? Like, isn't that the best feeling ever? Yeah, you're like, what? Little old me? Like, are you sure you're okay? Are you sober? Did you drink that whiskey? It's like, what the fuck? But at the same time, yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. And the funny thing is with the podcast, I honestly, I think the way I started that podcast, I was in Hawaii with my friend, and I'm like, dude, like, I should this is a couple of years ago. So we were like just starting to get a decent stride in real estate. You know what I mean? And like, I was like, man, we for our age, like we could definitely help a lot of people in our situation, like get to the next level. Cause like, we've just kind of been there and done that for our age, not in general. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, I've built a sick network up, and I bet you I can just record some of these conversations and people will benefit from it. And that's how it started. It wasn't like some grand oasis, like, crazy scheme rollout. I just was like started recording conversations, putting them online, and next thing you know, it's done pretty well. And I'm just like, this is super cool. It's very fulfilling.
Are you getting Andy Frisell on it still?
Dude, I've tried to get him on. So I'll give it because I felt like a wienerhead posting about it and then not having the interview happen. So this is the deal. All right. So if you go to his website, yeah. Like I'm still embarrassed. So if you go to his website, and it's not his fault either, but there's a banner on his website because people are like, dude, are you like Jesus' son? Like, how did you get Andy on? I'm like, listen, let me tell you the truth of the matter here. You go to his website and there's a red banner. You could not miss it even if you were blind. And it says, book Andy to be a guest on your podcast. And I remember I clicked through his website. I'm like, what the fuck? This is definitely a scam. And he was like, basically, hey, I've done a lot of success with my podcast. I want to help other people, grow theirs. So I was like, screw it, 10 o'clock at night. Let me just see what's cooking with this thing. So I filled out the thing. It was like a little short questionnaire, and I got an email from his sister saying, hey, we'd love to have Andy on your show. Let me know the booking link. And we booked it up. And I was like, oh, sick. That's awesome. And then I think there was some stuff going on with something happened or something, and he had to cancel for some reason. And I was like, that's fine. No sweat. And then I tried to keep rescheduling and haven't rescheduled yet. So it's going to happen. Just not sure when. Yeah, I think he probably got inundated with solicitations. So maybe he's just trying to buffer all that out. But yeah, I think try to go to his site and do it. Cause it might take some time, but that's how I did it.
Okay.
Like I didn't send him something in the mail, a picture of him, in like a suit saying like, you're my hero. Like I just filled out some shit on his website. So I'm looking forward to eventually having him on. It's going to be a good time for sure.
Who's been the biggest person besides Chris Voss that you've brought on?
David Osborne, 9-figure net worth.
Did just bring him on.
9-figure net worth guy, like serious, but he's not like one of these mainstream guys. He's kind of low key. He owns like the biggest Keller Williams in the fucking country.
Yeah.
And got him on there, and we had to reschedule a few times because these high profile guys are legit, and we had him on there, and dude, it was just cool talking to him and just being able to do a one-on-one and interview him, but at the same time, just learn from him, like almost like we went out to lunch or some shit. So, that was a big name guest. I had another guy, Dave Meltzer. He's a pretty big guy.
You did tell him about Dave Meltzer.
Yeah.
That one's really big.
Yeah. That was a little bit of a hard sell. I had to explain myself. Like another thing I do. So those are some pretty big names. What I do to get people on that might be a little high profile. A lot of people, this is something I see a lot of, and I try to talk about it because it'll really help people. You got to think about if you're trying to pitch something to someone, whether you're emailing them, calling them, whatever. You got to think about how is the other person going to perceive you when they receive your communication, right? So I used to send persuasive essays to people like Shakespeare art bullshit, and they would never read it and they'd never get back to me. And I get those types of messages from people now.
Too much of a headache,
and
bro.
I don't have time to read it because I don't even know what the fuck they're trying to say. I don't know the point. So what I do is me or Anna will reach out and we'll say, hey, really, look up to you. Your information's helped me. Would you ever consider being a guest on my show so we can help promote anything you have to offer and help you grow your business? So it's like 3 freaking sentences, and it hopefully is framed to benefit them. And then they can make a clear decision at that point whether they want to do it or not. And I've had a very good success rate just by giving them some sort of a message like that, where it's easy to understand and it's hopefully framed to their benefit,
Yeah, I think so.
That's the secret right there, man. Like they don't teach you that at Podcasting You.
No, they do not.
Just be cool, people. Yeah.
What's going on, Alex?
What's up, dude?
What I want to do, I struggle with going on people's podcasts, right? Because now they like bring me on for the call center.
Yeah.
I don't want to pitch myself for an hour long. Like I was like, yeah, I'm here to talk to you, but like I don't want to sit here and talk to you about cold calling for an hour.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be that guy of like pitching, because I don't think that's value. If I come on here and I could help you with some mindset things,
yeah,
I could talk to you about how to like hire people. But if I'm gonna sit here and talk to you about cold calling for an hour, I was like that's not something I want to do, and I feel slimy.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm not an expert in that, but this is something I've learned from Frank Kern. So I'll just, I guess, repeat what he said. And I've done this a little bit with the course. Like I just his strategy is you give everything away, get just, hey, this is exactly cold. Hey, this is exactly, whatever, give all your shit away. And then at the end, you just make a subtle offer. Hey, if you're interested in having us do this for you, if you don't want to do it yourself, go to coldcall.com. And that's how, if you ever watch Frank Kern, I highly recommend you study that guy. That's all he does. He provides amazing content. He's genuinely helpful. He has no ulterior motive at all. And he's at the end, he's like, he makes an offer. Hey, if you want to get my free book, go to frankkernsbook.com and it'll help you out. And that way people understand. And that's how I became a client of his. Like, I was like, man, this guy's shit is so fucking helpful. I don't really know how to run Facebook ads. So I'm going to join his inner circle and fucking figure it out, have him figure it out for me. So that is what I kind of do now. Not with my course necessarily, but for like getting other investors to do deals with me, I'll make like a case study or something, or I'll post a book review. And then I'm like, hey, by the way, and I do this on my podcast, if you listen, it's like, hey, if you're local to the Hudson Valley or San Diego and you want to do some deals, like hit me up. And, I got cash, I got lenders, I got a great buyers list. And if you want to work together, hit me up, go follow me on Instagram. And, there's like that subtle offer at the end. And then if they want to take it, great. If they don't want to take it, it doesn't sound like I was like making a commercial the whole time,
But it's free. Like, so all of that revenue, my friend does like 10 extra deals a month from JVs.
Yeah, dude, from JV. Dude, exactly.
It's all free.
Money.
It's all free.
No paid traffic, no ROAS, none of that shit. It's fucking paid. It's free. Yeah. It's like icing on the cake, dude. Icing on the cake. It's like imagine we could go on the MLS and buy deals directly. Like everyone's margins would be like, 5 times bigger because there's no cost to acquire the customer. It's free. Just go online and buy it,
It's free. It's free. That's it's free now, but still. Are you still pushing your course?
A little bit. I don't push it. I'll be honest with you. I made a lot of mistakes with that thing. Like not with the content, but with my marketability of the course. And there was a lot of friction with it. So the paid traffic was a disaster and I've made a lot of mistakes. Main thing was not hiring an expert to do it for me and me trying to figure it out myself. But I still sell a little bit of my course just through organic social media and like podcasts and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then sometimes people want to like consult with me one-on-one and they'll like throw me money and I'll like throw in the course as a bonus or something like that. So it's definitely still an asset. But it definitely was a lot harder to sell that via paid media than I thought. And it's interesting. Okay. Like it's like wholesaling. It's like how much does it cost to acquire a customer? And like
and there's a lot of learning. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like what's my time worth? If I can go make 50 grand flipping a house, or I could sell 3 courses and spend fucking $2 grand in ad spend and make $1,000 margin, like, dude, like what am I doing?
Without a doubt. I had one more question for you. Oh, consulting and coaching.
Yes.
I do it very lightly. I have one dude who I'm helping out right now, but I don't like the responsibility of that person succeeding. Cause like you really got to like wholesaling or investing at the beginning is you were going to get your face kicked in for a year. Don't think any different. Get your face kicked in for a year. And I promise you'll get a deal.
100% agree with that statement. At least a year.
At least a year.
At least a year.
And if you're okay with that, I can help you set up all your systems. I can help you talk to your leads. I can help you do everything.
Yep.
But it's going to take at least a year for you to get anything.
100%. I love that. I think that's an awesome way to approach it. So you're selective with who you work with, right?
Yeah. I mean,
you have to be.
I have to be like, okay, well, what are you doing? And I charge people because I want that barrier to entry too. Like I'm not just gonna. I tried helping people for free, and it was such a time suck to where it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's literally like if people don't pay for something, they don't pay attention. And I used to think that was a guru like reverse psychology hack, but it's just a fact. Like, yeah, no, and I think charging more than not like overcharging, but charging something that's gonna be like, hey, this is legit money. Like, it's not like $100. Like it's like, hey, like I'll give you an example. I do selective coaching, mostly around sales training, because that's like one of my core competencies. And, if it's a big team, like we're charging 4 G's a month, like I'm not fucking around and I'm not doing that to pound on my chest, but like you got to be able to number one, they got to have skin in the game. And number two, if they pay that type of money, obviously they're ultimately going to get a way higher return on that. Cause if they just do one more deal and they make 15 grand on that deal, it's paid for itself and then some, but you got to work with the right people. Like you can't steer a parked car, like you said. So I get on the phone with people sometimes and I'm like, hey man, I'd love for you to give me money. I love money, but at the same time, I don't want to take your money because I don't think there's anything I can do to help you. And it's not a knock on you, but I think right now you should just go out and do something like on your own for free. And then when you're ready for this, or you think this is something you might want to do, then it might make sense to work together. And and that is better and more, even though it's a little uncomfortable, it's better to do that than take someone's money and have some pain in the ass client and all they do is just bother you. Oh my God, how do I do this? Oh, what do I say that? And then you're a therapist and you're like, you know what? I don't even care about the money. Here's your money back. Here's all my shit. You know what I mean? You're just like, dude, like it's just not, it's all about working with the right person. And that's what I've found to be the least amount of stressful client to work with if you're coaching people, And having, one more thing, I forgot to mention this. I've done a decent amount of this, though. This is a big shift I had. So it used to be like a monthly, like just a monthly retainer. And what I've noticed is it got drawn out after like a couple months. It's like I was doing the same. I was like a fucking, I was like a parakeet, just repeating shit. And now what I do is I'm like, okay, we're going to begin with the end in mind. This is a 12-week thing. We're going to work for 12 weeks. At the end of 12 weeks, you're going to decide, do you think this makes sense to continue another 12 weeks or does this not make sense to continue another 12 weeks? But we know we're starting at X day and we're ending at Y day. And that way we have the expectations here, because the more it gets drawn out, it just gets shittier and shittier. But I've had clients I've worked with for a year, and it made sense. But now I'm really hard. I'm really direct on like the beginning and the end and the expectations, what I'm going to provide for you and what my intentions are, and then what I need you to provide me and what your intentions are. So we can collectively see if this makes sense to do together. And if you really need me to help you, or if you're just, trying to work with me so you can talk to me and not talk to sellers, because that's the truth too a lot of the time.
When did you start doing all the consulting work?
Yeah, so I met you at John's boot camp, and he started getting all these damn leads from people who wanted to do one-on-one coaching. He didn't want to do it. So he's like, hey, dude, do you want to take these leads and work them and then, give me like a referral fee or a piece of the revenue? You don't have to do any marketing. I'll just send you these leads and we'll just, give me a little piece of the action. So that started 2018, dude. So I've been doing this for like 3.5 years. I've worked with a lot of clients, and I never really talk about it either, because it's all just kind of like one-on-one shit.
Talk about it. I didn't even know you did it.
No, I did. Yeah. So 3.5 years, dude. I still have 2 clients right now. It's funny. Like sometimes I don't want to do it. And then like, I'm just like, I kind of like how, I've really helped a lot of people, and I've really helped people with their sales stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I take a couple clients, at a time and just do that and tried my best to be extremely helpful and go above and beyond, because I'm selective on who I'm going to work with. I'm not just going to work with anybody. So yeah, 3.5 years, man. I've done, I don't even know how many clients at this point. A lot of them for sure. A lot of these bigger organizations in the industry I've worked with them for at some point on improving their sales process. And I've learned a lot. I've gotten really good at sales, not only from doing deals myself, but teaching it, dude, and really like being able to synthesize a lot of the theory versus a lot of the reality, and then trying to blend that together to come up with some real valuable stuff that can really help people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude.
I got a call, and like I'm late to a call, so let's tie this.
Let's wrap it up for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find out more about you? Shout out your course. Hit them up for sales training.
Yeah, I would say the best way to get in touch with me is on Instagram. I'll give you 2 ways. Instagram, so Grego, Grego _37, or if you want to email me, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com. Velocity as in speed, house as in there's a house for sale, buyers as in buyersofgroceries.com. And the reason I said it like that is because I took down a fucking rehab a couple of years ago, and the insurance company thought my company was Velocity House Fires. Like there's a fire on the building. And so now I'm clear on how I say my email address, because sometimes I don't think it goes through correctly. And I've had all these important documents get emailed. They're like, I never got your email. They're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, so I say it like that now so people can type it out correctly. So I digress. It was a pleasure to be on here, man. I love doing this stuff.
Oh yeah. Thank you. We got the
course,
and there was one other thing I want to shout you out on. What was it?
Oh, the book review?
Book review. Oh, the podcast, bro.
Oh, shit. Oh, I forgot about that thing. Pave the Way Podcast. I've had you on as a show. I'd love to have you back on, by the way. We can set that up offline. But Pave the Way Podcast. We do 2 shows a week, and they're good episodes. I got to say so myself. I put a lot of effort into them, and we try to really market them better now. So Pave the Way Podcast, if you want some great information on real estate, business, personal development, the whole thing there, check it out. And hopefully we can have you as a listener.
Thank you so much for coming on, bro. If you guys are looking for any type of virtual staffing, go to callmagicians.com. They'll take care of you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Dope.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Winning Move Podcast. I hope it helps you make all the right moves in your life and business. Please make sure to go like and subscribe on any podcast platform that you're listening to, and make sure to go follow me on Instagram @StratDaddy. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.